Hello guys, thanks for joining, and I'll be talking about Templar healing today. I'll be sharing my build of the Templar, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on which skills to use on which encounter, and which skills I am using on which encounter, and which ones I prefer over the other in most cases. That's the basic way to put it. I'll also be giving some information about roles in dungeons, especially the veteran dungeons, and then obviously your role as well. Let me put this up though, but first let me put this straight. I'll be assuming that you're using a Templar and you're using it with the restoration stuff. On the second bar, I would kind of suggest that you use a destruction step on your second bar, especially when you're healing, that is. I mean, I'm right now leveling, and I'm leveling with a two-hander, but my distraction stuff is already 50, that's why. So I just want to get rid of two-hander and then jump into something else. I just want to maximize my character. But back to the point. Yeah, so 2 bars, the preference would be healing, the restoration stuff on first main bar, and then for the second destruction stuff, just for the AoE capabilities and maybe a little survivability also. So the healing abilities are that you would like to use are going to be switching a lot during the encounters. You need to be in Elder Scrolls. You need to have the open mind, because this is a new scene, and they are trying to shape their own PvE instead of being an old MMO clone. You need to understand this. Like, really, if you're coming from an old MMO scene, you need to be open to new ideas. You need to be open to an idea that it is normal for a melee ad to come at you and power attack you, and the only thing that you need to do is to see that and block it. There is no other way. In Elder Scrolls, this is going to happen, and you need to be ready for it. As a healer, you can whine at anyone you like. You can, at the end of the fight, if you wipe because of this, you can whine at anyone and say, I don't want an ad power attacking me. Okay, but you can still survive that. There's that case. You need to block a power attack. A power attack is the charge attack. It's the same one. It's this. So you will be seeing, flashy animation on the mob that is attacking you, and then you need to block. There is no turning back. You need to see that, or you need to, knock him back or anything like that. Just works out fine. You need to stop that. But even if you block a boss attack, if it's not, a trials boss, probably you won't get one shot. If you don't block in veteran dungeons, you do get one shot from pretty much everything. So yeah, maybe I did emphasize it quite a lot. But other than that, as I was saying, you need to have an open mind to this game, especially to this scene, because you will need to CC as a healer. You will need to DPS as a healer. You will need to use some supportive spells, and then adjust your positioning, and you'll be running out of mana really a lot, because you do run out of mana in I would say 3 different situations. One of them is someone making a mistake. If any DPS is watching this, please understand that if you take a power attack and if you don't get one-shotted, and you're like, ooh, that was close, that's actually still really bad, because to top you off in Elder Scrolls, a healer uses almost half his mana. I'm not even kidding. That's the way it is going right now. Like, half his mana just gone because you couldn't block, like, instantly. So you also need to understand that on a side note. So basically, there are 3 situations, I would say, that you're going to be running out of mana. One of them is the content, where a boss is sucking you out, which is sucking your magicka or something. Sorry, I'm splattering. But on the other hand, someone makes a mistake on a second one, or there are some fights that are AoE heal, and continuous AoE heal that is needed, that you need to just keep up and DPS raise it. Maybe, I don't know, just making it up. But most of the time, 2 out of 3 cases that is coming to my mind, at least, that you are going to run out of magicka is content dependent, and then the third one is the failure of your tank or DPS that is taking a damage that is not necessary. Funny enough, there are some cases that are going to regen your magicka though. You might want to use them. There are some cases where you will be crowd controlled by a boss. You might be like, oh fuck, I'm crowd controlled. No, you're actually regening Magica if everything goes right, since that's content anyway. Since that's like intended that you are going to get crowd control, then you'll be regening Magica. So try to use your those kind of stuff to your advantage, and then keep an open mind during the fight, especially on veteran. And I'm also assuming that you're on the veteran level. But yeah, the guide will be regardless to the end. So let's jump into the skills a little. If I would have to put a value over them, I would most likely put these three to any single healing. This is a good thing, because if you're a sorcerer right now and watching this, those two you already have from the restoration stuff. This one I'm using the morph, which is giving me Magica back per each ally that is standing inside the zone. And I would value it the most because of the Magica, not because of the healing. It's really low Magica cost, so you're most likely to cast it in a split second, even if you're out of Magica. After the split second, you can cast the Healing Springs. And then I really value the Combat Prayer, not because of the healing it does. It doesn't have right now, at least, if they don't come up with the bullshit updates that they're considering on the PTS right now, sort of what breaks. I am not valuing this because of the unlimited AoE. I'm valuing this because of the armor and spell resistance that you're buffing your group with. And you're also buffing them with extra damage if you morph them like mine. But I would still say the spell resistance and the armor is insane buff. That just, if you're a good player, you will be able to watch everything and see what is going on. You will be able to see, okay, my tank is receiving a power attack. Even if he blocks, I can still put this on him, and he will be receiving even less damage from the block. You do know you do receive still some damage from power attack even if you block. So yeah. So this is all to your control as well. There will be some fights that is shitloads of AoE going on, which is probably magic damage most of the cases. You can keep this up, and the thing that is going to happen is if you cast this every 8 seconds, is it 8 seconds? Yeah. So if you cast this every 8 seconds, the amount of AoE healing that you need to cast will be drastically lower than it should be. I mean, test this. This is a really insane spell. I really wish, actually, this restoring focus, is it? Yeah, this was group wise. This is only for yourself, so I don't really value this spell that much. Unless there's going to be a content where a Templar will be a ranged tank, then I would really understand this. This is an insane spell. But yeah, back to the point of healing, I would say Backlash, which is Purifying Life morph on mine, but you can do the power build also, the other morph. That's quite legit also. Yeah, the Backlash, the Purifying Light in my case, is the third value, which is making your healer something else for the group, just with one spell. So basically, if you can manage to cast this every 8 seconds to the boss that you're fighting with, then you're not only a healer, but also you're 30% of the DPS of your group. That's insane, right there. But I have already made a video about Backlash, so I won't be on this. So those 3 spells I never change. Those 2, however, I do change. Now, this is Breath of Life, and this is my get-go for most of the boss fights. If I don't know the boss fight, I go in with this one. This is the Bursty Heal. It heals yourself and 2 more allies, and it's the Bursty Heal, and it uses so much cost. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the most costly spells. And the other one to replace it with Ritual of Birth. And Ritual of Birth, I only used it so far for 1 fight, but without Ritual of Birth, I don't think I would have healed it. There's a video up for it also. It's the Fungal Grotto last boss. You can check it out. It's a really cool fight, actually. The graphics are a little bad for recording because they changed the atmosphere to purplish. But either way, regardless, you should check that fight. It's really cool also, from my point of view, in the channel, if you have the time. And as I was saying, Ritual of Birth was needed instead of the Breath of Life. Now, why? Ritual of Birth is healing everyone in your party, including yourself, with a boost to yourself, while This one is basically healing one nearby wounded ally, and then 2 others for half of it. So, and it is costing a lot more. So if all the group is taking damage, you will need to cast this twice to top everyone off, instead of this once. But this has a casting time, and it costs a lot less. So what I'm getting at, basically, if the group is taking constant AoE damage, then you would like to play with Ritual of Birth, and you would like to play something like cast, buff. If you can wait just a little and then cast Ritual of Birth, you know, just continue casting, you know, some type of a rotation that is buffing Combat Prayer and then using Purifying or Light on the boss, and then casting Ritual of Birth, and then rinse and repeat all the time. And you would like the fight to continue, and in most cases you will have mana to do this, especially if you can cast the Healing Springs, heal here and there, and then spam your potions of this. But with Breath of Life you won't be able to do this, but most of the fights don't have an AoE damage like that, that is constant. They have burst damage, like a really hard hit or some type of a Shadow Bolt cast on a random target, you know what I'm getting at. And most of the fights when someone fails, not everyone takes damage. And this doesn't have a casting time. So this one is more reliable if the fight is not constant AoE damage. Yeah. And if you will have enough mana to cast it. And then the final spell that I'm using most of the time is Extended Ritual. This one is mostly I'm using because not as AoE heal. I don't really give a crap about the AoE heal actually. It's obviously because of the Purify ability, which gives you the the synergy to your group that they can use by pressing X. They will not only heal themselves, but they will also cure themselves, which is why it's really strong. And if I am not mistaken, this is not in the hidden global cooldown, so you can just press X and it will instantly be in effect. The worst part of this is you cannot use the Purify yourself. So to cure yourself once again, you need to cast Extended Ritual once again. So there are some fights that you will find yourself draining your mana just because of this. You will be like, okay, I'll cast Extended Ritual, and then the dot comes to you and you need to cast it again. That's kind of a bad thing actually. That's a bad design in my opinion. But on the next patch they have already announced that when there's Purify on the ground, there will be another icon on a player that has a dot on themselves. What I'm trying to say is basically if they have a spell effect that they can cure with Purify, it will be showing another icon that they need to use Purify or something. If I understood the patch notes right, that's going to be the case, and that's really strong. That's buffing the Extended Ritual by itself, just by UI improvements, that's really strong in my opinion. So if I'm not using Extended Ritual, if there's no need of cure whatsoever, I'm usually using something from Restoration stuff, if I'm not wrong. I might be using some type of a CC also, but I'm most of the time switching to my Distraction stuff for that. Now I'll be giving some information. If you have nothing to heal at that point, you need to be either main attacking with your Restoration stuff. What I would do is, if I'm running out of mana, I would main attack. So I'll just single target, just left click my mouse towards the boss, if the boss already has the backlash, obviously. So there's nothing else to do, there's no healing needs to be done, there's no movement needs to be done. You can also move while attacking at the same time anyway. And the backlash is up already. So what I would like to do is basically, I would like to just spam attack if my mana is going low. If I'm fine with mana also, I would just switch into DPS staff and then cast maybe an AoE on AoE group, which is what I'm using is the Elemental Blockade, especially with a Frost staff. So your Distraction staff as a healer, since you're not putting any DPS output, I would really recommend having a Ice staff over anything else. Because this Elemental Blockade is me slowing down every single spawn there is, and it stands there for like, how many seconds? 4 seconds. You can make it even longer with your morph. This is really important, another information. So some fight like Fundal Grotto, second boss, a lot of random parties are disbanding right there after wiping for several hours. You know, the shadow phase where the boss disappears and 4 ads come out, and then tank needs to CC first, and then maybe a sorcerer comes in and CC. While this is going on, no one is taking damage whatsoever. If anyone takes damage, they die anyway in this phase. So what can you do as a healer is basically switch to your ice staff and put this elemental blockade. So if one of the CCs fail, they will be moving so slow, and it will be just because of you, and you will be saving a lot, and you will also be DPSing at the same time. And this only takes like a split second if there is no server lag, and then you can switch back to healing again. So practice makes this perfect, but other than this ability, I would say on your destruction, on your second bar, anything that is important is probably something like Blazing Shield, which is a sun shield if I'm not wrong. It just puts up an HP kind of thing. These all depend on content though. I would probably put these two just to be safe also. They're just so content dependent though. Okay, for the last information, I'll go into the ultimate. Now, I really value Solar Prison because it's just high burst, and right now there is no AoE cap again if they don't come up with that bullshit update. So basically the Solar Prism is hitting everything. I can give example about that video again. You can watch that, the second boss of Fungal Vortal. It's on my channel. And once the shadow phase starts, if you put this down, you basically get rid of them just like by yourself or something. I mean, it's seriously insane. But then again, you will need the healing ultimate on some fights, especially some fights where your group make a mistake that they need to. I can give again example from the Fungal Grotto last boss this time, where there's constant AoE damage that you need to run into the bubble. You can check the video out. And if your timing is going to be failing, if you feel like you can just, or you're going to be standing inside a black puddle and take constant damage, then you can just force your ultimate and heal everyone up, and you know, just fix the mistake itself by your out healing. So out heal the mistake itself and then rescue yourself. The big point of this practice incantation is its ultimate cost. It's really low. 144 is just gainable in like a 30 seconds of fights, boss fights. Especially if you're using every single global cooldown to your availability. Global cooldown means that you cannot use anything else by the time that you're casting this, you know. So while casting Backlash, you cannot use a heal. That's kind of a global cooldown in this game, I would say. Nothing else. So yeah, that will be it from me, I think. And I hope some of the points were useful, at least to some of you. And I hope that it will be improving your healing capability, or at least it gave you some ideas where you can, you know, change some things. I want to get 50 on this so that I can get the last points on Restoration Master. Yeah, if you'd like to see me in action, you should join my stream though. The link is down below. I'm most of the time streaming. If I'm not streaming, I'm making a video for YouTube for this channel, or I am sleeping. So anyways, I'm tired, and excuse me by, you know, the blabbering and taking gaps in between, but I really don't like editing videos. I don't like to be robotic. I really want to be natural for this so that you see what is going on, instead of, you know, getting prepared and making a video and there are lots of cut stuff and such, you know. I really don't want it to happen this way. Anyway, you can leave a comment below if you liked it or if it was informative, or you can even give more information on the comments for the other players to not to miss out on stuff. If you're a Templar healer yourself and you have good ideas, you can leave a comment for it also. Thanks a lot for tolerating me in this video, and I hope it was useful. Take care. See you next time.